Yeah, man. Finally grabbed the bull by the horns for the advanced care plan. They don't want to resuscitate cause they're holding their breath for a better day. But I'm not one to be weighed down by these isms, cause I got the potential to envision a new way that's not watered down by that new wave. Planting feet on solid ground. It's the new brave. Cause I didn't come here to just tick a box. I came to reconstruct my identity, to challenge my worldviews, and to understand my place within those worldviews. The way I look at it, our identities, they're social constructs. We know ourselves in a particular way, and then other people, they know us in another way. And whether those things are congruent or not will depend how much power we have over the world around us. If we don't have much power, then the external world will map out our identity, construct our identity. But if we have power, then we tell the external world what our identity is. So if a person wants to portray like their best selves, and they have somebody by their side that agrees with them, then this becomes a stronger voice, a stronger power. But this power is not necessarily a quantitative thing. Just because you have more voices by your side doesn't mean you're a stronger power. You need to have strong voices by your side. And then the more strong voices you have, then the more power you have. Then the question is, how do we get somebody to walk alongside, to stand by us? And more importantly, how do we get somebody that has power? In our society, there are certain people that are sanctioned with power. Our culture values certain people or professions. This society values inherent traits within the individual traits. I think the strongest power that people value in our world are the people that are considered orators. That would have to be the strongest power. More stronger than music or dancing, creating things, like a trade or something like that. More stronger than writing, even more stronger than knowledge. It's just the person that can speak to the people. And the person that speaks to the people is the person that the people want to listen to. Someone that has the physical features, the voice, the presence, someone that looks congruent. The voice, the presence has to match who that person actually is, their identity, from the core to the periphery, even through the life course. They have to live who this person is. So this person cannot be an actor. They can't fake it. Because we, or the people I should say, as the encoders of this information, they pick up on really subtle things. They can pick up on weakness. You can hear the weakness in someone's voice when they're not committed to what they're saying. Watch people when they try to sing. You can hear it. If they don't know how to sing, then they're going to sound weak. And this is what the orator needs, a strong voice. I know there's other ways to communicate, through symbolism, through sign language, through the visual. That's important too, but this reaches the masses, the person's voice. And they're going to be able to talk about the really complex things that are going on in our world and within individuals. But they need to talk about these complex things in the simplest way possible. So they do need to be smart. They do need to have the knowledge. And more importantly, they need to have that knowledge that understands the lived experience. They can't claim to be an expert and then come from the outside somehow, having experienced something indirectly. They have to at least sound like they have experienced it. And then for those that are socially excluded, they will cling to this person because this person is the person that can provide access to the fruits of society. It's not only that they look at this person to do the job for them, they want to look at this person for inspiration and provide them with the voice that they can use when they're in the everyday public discourse, when they are experiencing the microaggressions. Because we've all had those moments when we were in the public domain and we've heard somebody direct a microaggression at us in some sort of way. Maybe it's about our people, maybe it's about what we represent, what we wear, what we eat, culture. And then during this moment, we've sat there with the challenge presented right in front of us and had nothing to say, no comeback, nothing. Or the comeback we had was in our head, but we couldn't bring it out. And so this orator comes along and they've thought long and hard about this sort of thing because they too have had this lived experience. So when the people feel like they're not alone and they see this person with lived experience and someone that's thought long and hard, They also see that this person has come up with creative ways to deal with it. They've come up with a new discourse which can bring new meaning to that situation, and that new meaning can change minds. We only need to change one mind, and that's the catalyst. We can then change an entire population. These situations sometimes, the ones where we were lost for words, they can be awkward situations. Some people, they try to challenge it, they get angry, whatever, and a lot of people just want to avoid it altogether because these are dangerous situations. But there are people out there, they've had to live in these situations all the time. It's not really their choice to live in these situations, but they live in it. Some would say that they survive in it, but we're all surviving. And when we use a term like survival, it makes it sound like they're constantly struggling in that situation. They have learned how to live in it. They're still standing. They're still trying to make the best of their life, trying to live a normal life, trying to have meaning and dignity in their life, even though they don't have the resources because of the social exclusion. No access to money, clothes, food, but also no need to present themselves in these sort of ways. These people are not only highly adaptive, but they're also highly knowledgeable of this situation. They are very strong people. The other people have died. It is a type of natural selection for these people to carry on. They might carry on until the later life, but our discourses try to change that. I think our discourses are jealous that there are stronger people out there, and that these stronger people, they don't get the recognition that they deserve. They don't get the respect from the public. Like I was saying about the individualized respect that we have for people, for their skills, their traits, their abilities. We respect the hard work and dedication that goes into these sort of things, because we know that if we ever tried to do something like this, that we would struggle to do it. That it wouldn't just take 2 years to learn it. It would take like 20 years or something. And that would be so difficult during some moments that we would just probably give up, because the learning will just hit like a brick wall. And so it is with these people, the socially excluded people that live in public, in society. They face this wall as well, an invisible wall, and they just carry on somehow. And I have a theory about this. My theory is that they've inherited a pride and dignity that's been passed down through the generations. And I think it's something very, very important to us being humans, and something that we all need in our lives. This is a connection to our ancestors. They pass this pride down through the generations, and each cohort passes it to the next. Our society has changed big time after the Industrial Revolution. I think right now the modernism age makes people think that we are civilized and that we're humans now. And then at some point before we were humans, we were something else. We were like an animal or something. Most of these discourses, usually the evolutionary one, they suggest that we were apes. And we try to make out like this transition, when it happened, it took millions of years or something like this, I don't know. But then we can only remember our existence for a short time, right? Like our history, it only goes back a few thousand years. But for some reason, this transition took millions of years. So how can that be? Where did this amnesia come from? Maybe before we were humans, so-called humans, maybe we did know where we came from. Maybe we had lineage that stretched millions of years. Or maybe years didn't matter because time didn't matter. If you look at our human history, you'll see that at the same time, time is a factor. It's been there. It's always been there. Time has always been there. We had a concept of time. But the concept that we have, as real as it is to us now, is it a natural thing? Or is this just another social construct? I want you to think about that for a minute, because I'm going to challenge something that is part of just about every society in the world. I actually think it is every single society in the world has a concept of time. But what our mathematics does with time is that it's made time into this linear, to try to understand it more easier. We've thought about it in a linear way. It starts and then it ends, right? But then it's also infinite. Everything else is finite within time. How can everything that's related to something infinite be finite? That doesn't make sense. That sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? Over time, we've developed systems to force people to work. From a binary perspective, there are two systems. One is a reward system, and the other is a punishment system. Both of these incentives get people to work. And within this finite space, there is all the variability in between, of course. Time is a system as well. It has systematically coordinated society, once again, to work. When you look at those two systems that get people to work, the reward system and the punishment system, which one do you think time falls into in that space? We've heard of terms or concepts like time pressure. We never really hear of all the time in the world. We're constantly under time pressure. And what's that feeling like when we're under time pressure? Some people say that they thrive under time pressure. Some people even say they need the time pressure. It's like a good kick for them to get things done. But even that expression, when they say that, good kick or whatever, to get things done, that sounds like the punishment system, doesn't it? The concept of time is a punishment. Think about what our life would be like if we didn't have a concept of time, or should I say this linear time. Do you really think we would be less motivated to work if we didn't have time? If they were like, do all these things within this amount of time, and then say next time do more things within that amount of time, or get paid for this amount of time, get paid less, get paid more for the same amount of time. Time is related to everything, isn't it? The hierarchies in society, holding time constant, they can get more done, right? They get paid more for the same time. All quantified through the same system, the same linear system, and like a number line, and of course time, the all omnipresent force. But let's look at the cultures that didn't really have time, didn't think of time like this. Did they work well together? They work hard. Not every culture has this concept of time, this linear way of looking at time. Think about concepts like reincarnation. That shows that there's a pattern through the infinite time, and the pattern is also infinite. There's no start and end. It's recursive, and it just keeps going. These cultures, they understand their mortality, right? Because without a concept of time, then we just live forever. Without a concept of time, there is no age. We don't have to quantify our identity. You know, when you hear the age 67, what do you think? You must think that this person is going through a transition in their life, that they're ready to retire or something, that they'll have certain ailments with their body, that they won't understand certain things, like what we would call new things or cultures. That's not true for everybody. We are sentient beings, we're fluid. Our life force is also fluid. It lives forever. Because when you think about yourself, from the moment you could think about yourself till now,